Felix, we are waiting for LB. We don't know where he is. We hope he's well. That's why we're backstage for so long. Hopefully he's not a Liverpool fan, so that's not why he's hiding. If he was a Liverpool fan, we'd get why he isn't here. Loads to talk about today. Liverpool's big rejection. Man United going for a midfield madness. We're going to be getting Potsy's and LB's predictions for their team ahead of the new Premier League season as well. Plus, we're touching on the situation at Chelsea also. Hit the like button, people. Make sure you're subscribing. How are you, Dan? You well, mate?
I'm very well, man, because I'm not a Liverpool fan. They're in meltdown, mate. They are all finished. They're all done. The blood pressure's gone. They've had a week off. They're going to relax now. Mate, last night, YouTube world went mental. And I watched earlier your clips of all of them just going absolutely nuts. And it was a great watch, Terry, I must say. It's funny. Listen, I don't hate on Liverpool like I imagine you do. I don't hate on Liverpool like I imagine LB probably has over the last few years. But it was still very, very funny to see them all going absolutely insane. And we saw how funny it was when Lavia and Caicedo decided to say no to them. Now this is happening again. I just don't think they can handle it. And Liverpool at the moment have got a lot of work to do in the next couple of weeks, in my opinion. But I'm very well, man. I'm very well.
Mate, certainly. And look, we are going to start off with that because it's the biggest news of the day. It really, and here he is. LB is here. He's in the house and he's dressed for Liverpool's funeral as well. I like it, mate. I like it. But yeah, like Liverpool, big rejection last night, and the meltdown is like nothing I've seen. I wasn't going to go live last night until I saw everybody else live, and I thought I've got to go in. I've got to see what my community's saying, and it was crazy. But then watching back Anfield Agenda, I mean, have you seen Sam's rants? Sam losing his mind, and my favorite bit was actually watching the gloating and all the zubis, all the songs they were making up, everything, and now the utter meltdown. And I don't think it's just anger at Zubimendi. It's the Bellingham deal not happening, Yoro not happening, Caicedo not happening, Lavia. The amount of players in the last few years they've gone in for and been rejected for. What does this say? What does this say, boys, about Liverpool in this current moment that they couldn't convince a player to leave Real Sociedad?
Well, it's not good, is it? It's not good. Listen, Zubimendi's made it quite clear he wants to stay at Real Sociedad. Now, it might be because he loves Spain, he loves the club, and he wants to stay there, right? It could be that. But genuinely, if you have got anything about you, you would move to Liverpool from Sociedad. It's not like Sociedad are up there fighting with Real Madrid for trophies. It's not like Sociedad are favourites to be playing Champions League football at the top level, being the last few. I think Liverpool have still got a good team. I think Liverpool are still attractive. I'm just surprised that this one's happened. But then you look at it and you think, why are we? Because Caicedo didn't fancy it. Lavia didn't fancy it. I suppose the difference is Caicedo and Lavia were actually offered a hell of a lot of money from Chelsea and big moves, right? Zubimendi's different because he's kind of just thought, nah, I'll just sit chilling out here. It's all right. I just can't believe it, if I'm honest. I did not see that happening. When he said he was staying, I thought, nah, that will happen. That will still happen. This is mad. And it doesn't look good for Liverpool because they've not been able to have that pull. And you know what's mad? I'm not saying this because I'm a gooner. All three of our defensive midfielders walk into their first team. Jorginho, Partey and Rice. That's crazy to me because it wasn't that long ago. I was looking at Liverpool's team thinking, love that to be Arsenal's. I'd absolutely love that to be Arsenal's. And now they've got no number 6. Their number 6 is Endo, who they've said they do not want to keep anyway. And he has apparently been playing Gravenberch and Jones in the 6 ahead of him. So that means that his future is massively in doubt. This is not good news, man. Who are they going to end up getting? Are they going to go and get somebody? Or are they going to end up just thinking, well, we'll just keep what we got again, like they did last season? This is poor from Liverpool.
But this is, I have absolutely no sympathy for them, right? Because there's a clip that Terry uploaded of me on the 25th of July. And it was from a show that we did on the 23rd of July, right? In that clip, I said that I don't think Liverpool really want to spend. I felt that the rhetoric that was going around at the time that Arne Slot just wanted to assess his squad was complete and utter nonsense and a cover for something else that was going on. And if that was true, then that was abysmal on the part of Arne Slot because he should have known the squad. And the amount of Liverpool fans that commented on that post and said, there's still 2 months left, this guy don't know what he's talking about, blah, 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 blah. Well, all I say is now is hold that, yeah, because you've got now 2.5 weeks to get a DM into your football club. And if you don't, then that is absolutely shambolic. You know what I mean? Liverpool, everyone knew, every single football fan around the world knew that Liverpool needed a DM. You're not telling me, again, repeat what I said on that show, 4 weeks ago. There is no one that's telling me that Arne Slot didn't know that. And if he did know that, then it's the fault of the board. It's the fault of the sporting directors. Liverpool should have got a DM wrapped up early days. And then people say, well, the Euros are on. You can still agree a fee, or you can get it done soon as the Euros end. There's absolutely no valid reason, no valid excuse that Liverpool have left it this late. And I know there's still 2.5 weeks in the window, but let's be honest now, you're in panic mode, and everyone knows you're in panic mode, so the price of everyone's just gone up unless you're doing release clauses. It's their own fault that they've left it this long. It is absolutely their own fault. And I've got to say, a lot of Liverpool fans need to start calling these owners out, because I called the owners out. Yeah, and some Liverpool fans didn't like that I called your owners out. Your owners and your board should have got this player across the line as soon as the transfer window opened, or as soon as possible. You should not be a week away from the start of the Premier League season, yeah, with still no DM. That is absolutely inexcusable. Yet there's a load of Liverpool fans that want to call us out on the terrace when we call out these things and say your club needs to make these signings earlier. There's a load of Liverpool fans that are calling us out and saying, we don't know what we're talking about. They'll get the job done. They may get the job done. But the fact is, the way that your club's being run at the moment is stupid. You've got players running down the contracts. One of them, Trent Alexander-Arnold, is probably worth around 80 million quid. He's got less than a year left on his deal now. You've got no DM. It's absolutely shambolic. And the amount of Liverpool fans that have fallen for this, Arne Slot just wants to review the squad and check. Give it a rest, man. That is absolute nonsense. So, listen, I've got absolutely no sympathy for him because I called it out weeks ago, and a lot of Liverpool fans didn't like what I had to say. Well, now it's coming home to roost because the league starts this weekend and you've got no DM. It's shocking. It's absolutely embarrassing. I don't know what they're doing there. I don't know whose fault it is. If it's true that Arne Slot wanted to review the squad, that is on him because that's poor. Yeah, everyone knew that he didn't need to go in and assess the squad. Everyone knows that Liverpool needed DM. If it's not on him and they just put that as a cover story, then obviously it's on the owners and the board. But the facts are, more Liverpool fans need to be calling out this way of running the business. You know, they've got all these players running down the contracts. Like, what is going on at that football club? It's absolutely insane.
It's not just the DM either that they need, by the way. They need another left back. I hear people saying that Robertson's coming to decline as a footballer and Tsimikas isn't good enough. They still want another centre-half because Van Dijk can't play 40 games. They still want another number 9 because Nunez can't hit a barn door and Jota's made of biscuits. Diaz, they don't rate, which I'm sure we'll come on to that crazy rumour today about Man City at Liverpool, which I imagine is not true. Like, for me, Liverpool's still got a lot to do. You know, and I keep hearing them crying out for Anthony Gordon for like, I mean, he's going to be an unbelievable amount of money. Just go and sort your spine out, man. Don't worry about another left winger. Go and sort your spine out because, for me, Liverpool need that, in my opinion, if they want to be getting close to a title.
This is the thing. I watched about 4 of Liverpool's pre-season games, and they look really good. The football looks good. I think that they're going to be in the title race to a certain degree and point, a little bit like last year. But this is where it becomes a nuanced conversation. In the medium to long term, with the contracts being run down, LB's right, that's disaster because replacing Trent, replacing Van Dijk, replacing Salah is ridiculous amounts of money. Are they willing to spend it? No, it doesn't seem so. Equally, they need the likes of the Zubimendis of this world to be able to try and win the Premier League. And Liverpool fans don't like this pressure, but I believe it exists. Man United were expected to try and win the league in the season of 2013-14, the year after Fergie left, because it was a team that had just won the league, and it was was still looked at by many as a well-run club at that point. We were not expected to come 7th, as an example. Each year that's gone by since then, the expectations have dropped down to almost 0 for us to win the league. Liverpool fans can't be, it's okay to come top 4. It's okay to not be in the title race. No, you were in the title race last year. You were, you won trophies last year. It was only just over a year ago that you were a stone throw away from winning a quadruple. The standards have got to be maintained because you're already up there. Lowering the standards now is crazy. It's different when you've had a decade of failure and you're sitting there where I am and I'm saying, look, we've got to get back to those standards, but it's going to take years because it's 11 years of malpractice. You guys have got a very good squad. You're playing very good football, but not buying anybody now and not renewing these contracts is going to make you fall short. And that should be a problem, because if Zubimendi was made an offer that he couldn't refuse, if you had gone out and bought another fullback, if you had gone out and bought that additional attacker to give you more goals, there is a genuine chance, if the football that we've seen in pre-season echoed into the Premier League campaign with that extra strength in depth, with your contracts taken care of and players committing their future, you could win the league. And that is the standard that Liverpool should be at, and their fans should be demanding. And listen, I'll praise them for the good football that they play, but I think this is an embarrassment for them. I don't blame the journalists. I saw people going in on Ornstein and Joyce. How you guys told us it was pretty much done. No, you utter morons. Your club told the journalists that the green light was there, that it was almost done, that it looked like... The journalists don't make this up. They get told by the club. And then we blame the journalists when it doesn't go right. You've got to blame the club. The club have messed up. The club have got ahead of themselves. And Liverpool are normally the best in England at making sure that... That's why when I saw the stories, I assumed it was done. Because Liverpool don't leak these stories without it happening. Caicedo last year, yes, but he'd already committed to Chelsea and that was there. But normally they don't even let a journalist talk about a transfer unless they are 100% sure. So this ain't on Ornstein. This isn't on Paul Joyce. This is on your football club, and they are leaving you short of being able to win the title this year, and you should be absolutely fuming with them. Absolutely fuming. And it's also a bad look because it's so many top players that you just haven't had the ability to land in the last few years, from all the Bellingham talk, you know, the Tchouaménis of this world, Caicedo, Lavia, and now a player choosing to stay at Real Sociedad. I honestly think if Man United, when it comes to Paul, Man United were a team that was looked at as in title contention and we went in for Zubimendi, we would have the Hollywood factor that could bring him in. I do believe we can turn that head. I do believe we've done it this summer.
Why don't you think Liverpool had that though, boys? Like, real talk, why do you think Liverpool have not been able to do that? Because let's be real, Liverpool were talking about winning everything not long ago under Klopp. Like, why have they not been able to go and get that big name player in? And I'm not saying that the players they've got are rubbish, by the way. But like, Mo Salah wasn't a Kylian Mbappe when they bought him, was he? Neither was a Sadio Mane. Neither was a Bobby Firmino. Their midfield of Wijnaldum, Henderson, etc. Fabinho. They built a squad fantastically well. They've never gone and got that world-class star, have they? Do you know what I mean by that? They've never gone over that line and gone, do you know what? I want, let's just say it was Mbappe, but while he was at PSG. Mbappe, I want him to come in and have Salah and Mbappe. Why have they never been able to do that? And I can't answer that. You know what I mean? I really don't know why that is, because they're a massive club. I just don't get why they can't do that.
No, well, clearly it's something that needs to be addressed, because you've read out the names and Terry's right to call out again the fans that are going at the journalists. You're going at the wrong people. This is what you do when you don't want to attack, because no one wants to attack their own club, right? No one wants to sit here and just attack the club 24/7. But when you if you actually look at the facts, right, you've had multiple players over recent years reject the football club. Martin Zubimendi being the latest one, right? You're not getting a DM, even though there's only 2.5 weeks left of the window. You've left it this late. That's shockingly bad. And you're letting all your contracts run down to less than a year. That is absolute chaos. I can't believe people are not calling this out more than they are doing. I know, obviously, there were a couple. Sami's calling it out. But more Liverpool fans actually need to wake up, smell the coffee, and start calling this out. Because all that stuff, even if one of those stuff happens, right? For me, if I'm running a football club and a player rejects me, yeah? I'm wanting to know why. Why is he rejecting me? If another player starts rejecting me, then there's a big problem. If 3 or 4 of my players, best players, are already down on contracts, yeah, within a year, bro, I mean, that's just... And a lot of Liverpool fans are just coasting by saying, oh, you know nothing about our club. Trent will stay, Scouse. Right, whatever then, yeah? You're telling me that all these players are signing. You're telling me that Trent's going to sign. I mean, the facts are, you need to get onto your club and you need to start applying pressure, serious pressure on the board and the owner of your football club. Because I tell you what, if Trent leaves and Van Dijk and Salah end up leaving because obviously they're getting on a little bit, you're not going to be able to get Salah. You're not going to be able to get a Salah replacement. No one that's going to come in on that right wing is going to do a good job of Salah. Your centre-back replacement for Van Dijk is going to be worse than Van Dijk. Your right back, I'm being told by Liverpool fans, is the best right back in the world. So you're going to get a worse right back. And you can't even get a DM across the line. I'm not being funny, mate. It's looking seriously bleak for Liverpool unless they sort this out quickly. They are heavily reliant on Mohamed Salah this year to get them out of trouble.
It is true. And listen, I don't want to hear the yeah, but all the other clubs and the money and we're not like everybody else. Let's just go to the cold, hard facts here. Only Bayern Munich, Man United, Barcelona, PSG and City and Real Madrid have a higher income per year than Liverpool. Everybody else, Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal, Juve, Dortmund, AC Milan, Inter, Ati, Frankfurt, Newcastle, West Ham, Napoli. Then it's Marseille, number 20th. And then you start getting lower. You're the 7th wealthiest team. You have the 7th biggest income in the world. And to put that into sort of perspective, this only goes back to 2003, but there is basically 700 million of turnover. To put that into context, like it's in and around, Bayern Munich's only a couple of million more. Man United is only a couple of million more. Barcelona's is about 70, 80 million more. PSG, you're getting towards 100 million more. But you're not talking about a huge gulf. There's a bigger gap between the 2 or 3 teams below them than there is all the teams above them in terms of income. But they try and talk. Oh, yeah, but we can't do what other clubs do. You could definitely afford to pay a bit more in salary. You could definitely afford to spend a bit more in those areas. You have great incentive-based contracts. It's just for some reason, and I don't know why, and I can't put my finger on it. I don't know the reason why, but there is something about Liverpool where it doesn't seem to appeal to the stars. I think it appeals to the players before they're stars. So Fernando Torres, Luis Suarez as examples. But they've managed to keep hold of more of their stars this time round. That they've done a better job of. But when they're going for either those young superstar players on the come up that everybody wants, or players that are in sort of the peak of their career that the world's looking at, Zubimendi is an example. Bellingham was young, but the world wanted, they've not been able to do it. And I think some of it's financial, but there almost appears to be an element that is based, and I know they hate hearing this, is based on their pull. Man United went in for Lenny Euro. Liverpool walked away, and there were nothing to do with Man United. They walked away, and their words were when they briefed the Met press, he only wants Real Madrid. He wants to be a Real Madrid player. There's nothing we can do. Man United got him. Now, but you just paid him more. Trust me, that's not the only goddamn reason. We're paying him well, but he isn't being paid an exorbitant amount of money for how talented he is and the quality that this young man possesses. Liverpool have got to do more at the end of the day. Otherwise, they're always... And look, rebuilding a great team is the hardest thing to do. Building a great team is very difficult. Rebuilding it straight away, it's so difficult. And you have to put your money where your mouth is, and they're not willing to do it. And I'm a little different. I always feel sorry for football fans when your club owners are not doing enough when they can afford to, because Liverpool can definitely afford to.
They should call it out though, shouldn't they, Terry? This is what I'm saying about them. A lot of them don't call it out. You know what I mean? And that clip that you put up a month ago was proof of it. You've also got to look at some of the signings that they've made. I mean, for me, a lot of these signings that they make, I don't think is great value. I mean, they spent 70 million euros on Szoboszlai. I don't think that's great business. I don't think he's that good of a player. 40 million on Gravenberch. Yeah, he's young, but again, that's a lot of money. Who else they bought? They spent 85 on Nunes, 42 on Cody Gakpo. You're also looking at these players. I mean, I wouldn't have any of them players at City. I don't know if Potsy would have had any of them at Arsenal. And this is something that I've had to adjust my thinking in recent years on when it comes to signings. When you make signings, and obviously it's slightly different because we have Pep, but when you make signings, would Real Madrid sign that player? Because if they wouldn't, then should you be signing that player? Because ultimately, that's who you're going up against in the Champions League. And a lot of those players that they sign, they're overpaying, and they're just not good enough for Liverpool. And again, when you say that, Liverpool fans don't like it. It's actually a compliment to your football club. It's a compliment because I'm saying your club is better than the standard of player you're buying. Cody Gakpo, in my opinion, is not good enough for Liverpool, man. He spent 20 on Endo. He apparently slotted up what him anymore. That's 20 million for one season. I don't know. I think there's a lot wrong at Liverpool, and I don't think it gets spoke about enough.
No, I agree. And this is the problem. Forget those websites that show you how much salary a club's playing, because that's just almost like computer game stuff. Look at the actual trading accounts. Liverpool turned over in 2003 653 million. Now, they typically, in the last 5 years, have spent between 58 and 67% of their turnover on wages. Okay, so you minus that in the last Man United, by the way, 380 million on wages in the 2003 period. Liverpool's in that same period is, sorry, I put the wrong math in here, 687, sorry, minus 63%, 430 million. So up until 2003, because that's the last, and people can't dispute this, it's the trading accounts, it's official. It's not a website. It's not what some geek in his bedroom has guessed at based on what FIFA says that a player earns or Football Manager. They spent £50 million more on wages than Man United did in the last round of accounts. And the year before that, by the way, their turnover was 702 million and it was 62%. So it's always high. Okay. And this is not a dig at Liverpool. I'm not digging you up. There's nothing wrong with spending money. It's your money. Spend it. But it's this weird, yeah, but we just can't do it because we don't have any money to spend. It's a lie. You spend more money on wages than Man United do as a percentage of your turnover and in totality. But for some reason, everybody believes the media lies that Man United pay the most. It isn't true. It isn't true in any capacity whatsoever. You can go check it out on Deloitte's website. They have a football page that breaks down all the earnings of all the clubs in Europe. And they're not making any of this up. They take it from the publicly available trading accounts of all of our football clubs. So this is not something you can debate. This is pure, unadulterated, cast iron facts. Facts. So you should be challenging your club much, much more. There's no doubt about it. So in terms of someone, it's not paying staff only. It's the wages. Now, again, yes, it's covering the wages of non-playing staff and everything else. But you're telling me that Liverpool have £50 million worth more of non-playing staff than Man United? We employ more people than them. Like, what are you talking? This is the problem. And yes, you can probably take away a certain few million that are paid to, stewards and day-to-day staff, but you do that for everybody. Still levels out, they're paying more than Man United. There's no way Liverpool Football Club employ more people than Man United. On match days, it's impossible. We've got an extra 20,000 fans. Therefore, more stewards. Like, come on now. Like, more staff. This is just crazy. Stop. The only way you can dispute a fact in life is with a better fact or a fact that debunks mine. Come to me with facts, not feelings on this one, please, people. Challenge your club more. Some super chats here. First one says, we've been consistently around 5th and 6th in Deloitte's annual top teams, yet we act like Borussia Dortmund. Embarrassing. Fair play to you, listen, fair play, Nazir, because you're calling it out and it's the truth. You can't ignore the facts that are in front of you. It's so true.
Big up Nasir, because that's what you need more of, though. You know what I mean? And you need more people like Nasir out here, yeah, putting pressure on the board and putting pressure on the owners, and to stop believing stupid things like, Arne Slot just wants to assess his squad, when every single football fan in the world knew that Liverpool needed a DM. I mean, come on. Wake up, people. Big up Nasir, bro.
Wake up. Absolutely. Liverpool are not offering the dream of Disneyland like United do. Well, enjoy having no DM, mate. Enjoy having no DM. And listen, maybe you should. Maybe listen, Man United have been run poorly in the last 11 years. How we've signed, the players we've signed in that period have not all been bad. We've just been rotten to the core as a football club. There's been lots of other things that are wrong. So don't echo that. But maybe you should be offering a dream to these players. Maybe you should be selling a dream to make your club more desirable. The dream of bigger legacy. Now, maybe this is why your club's won one Premier League title in 35 years. Potentially. Just put that out there. Deep it for a second. My bro here says, another crazy thing about Liverpool. What does TW mean? Liverpool's transfer window. Is that they now It's all up. They're about to sign a goalkeeper. I don't know what Edwards and Hughes are smoking. I've read something like 30 million euros they're going to drop on a goalkeeper now. When they've got like they've probably got the two best goalkeepers, barring maybe City have got two they're number 1 and number 2 are brilliant. Kelleher and Allison. You don't need a goal. It's so strange.
There's no way they can be spending 30 mil on a goalkeeper. No way.
I think Fabrizio put it out today. I want to say euros.
Who are they getting?
I don't know who he is. I'm not
what are they doing, man? What? This has to be a social experiment to see how far they can push Liverpool fans before they pop. Surely not.
Can you imagine? Let me just keep scrolling down because I swear it was Fabrizio that shared it.
Not Marmashvili. Someone's put Marmashvili in there.
Yes, it is. Yeah, Marmashvili, 30 million euros.
Listen, he's a good goalkeeper, but he ain't coming in as number 2 behind Allison. He's going to go find first team football, mate.
Well, it says it says here Liverpool are serious. This is Fabrizio. It says Liverpool are seriously considering the opportunity to sign him. I can't pronounce his name. For a fee in excess of 30 million euros, and then loan him out. And then loan him out as an example. But that's still your money you're spending now. Spend it on a player for your team.
So Allison's going then. Is that what they're
that sounds
about?
like Allison's going then as well, doesn't it? I mean, that's probably part and parcel of that. So yeah, I can understand that he wants to stay, but it blows my mind that they have no alternative when they have clearly stated that a DM was a needed position. And it's again, big up yourself as a Liverpool fan for being honest about this. I think it makes you a better fan. Sometimes people go in on their clubs when they don't need to, and there's zero reason to be angry. There are times where you need to push, and I completely and utterly agree that it's crazy. No alternative. Fuck off. It's no disrespect. Zubimendi's very good, but it isn't like you're talking about the greatest DM to ever walk Earth, and there's no one else he's co-equal. You can find somebody else. Talent FC, English Talent FC here. Seri says Liverpool spent years waffling about their structure. It only worked when they were the underdogs. Once they won, the big dogs must spend big money and wages to stay on top.
Spot on.
Alberto here says Liverpool are in big trouble if they don't get it together. It's embarrassing for a club like Liverpool. They will be finishing 6th to 8th place like they were pre-Klopp. Yeah, maybe not this season, but with those players leaving and the lack of pull for stars, it's going to be. That could happen, boys. That's not even scaremongering. It could happen in the future.
Oh well, I think there's a chance Liverpool might not finish in the top 4 this year. I still have them in my top 4 predictions. But if someone said to me, "LB, I don't think Liverpool are going to finish top 4 this year. I think they'll finish 5th or 6th," I'm like, "Yeah, understand why you'd say that." Because for me, I think you're looking at Salah again. I mean, that's Salah, mate. Yeah, he must be looking around thinking, is this club going to do anything else to help me out? You know what I mean? Because I've literally been carrying this football club on my shoulders for basically ever since Mane left. If we're being honest with you, he's so clear of the rest of those players in that team. It's mad, and yeah, how he's not got the support. I wonder deep down if he's a little bit frustrated at the people above him at Liverpool, at how they've run it, because he deserves, as a player, right? He deserves to have won more. I say that I put my hands up. I'm very gracious in accepting that. He deserves to have won more as a player, and he's probably frustrated with the people above him.
He is, but this, like in life, we talk about footballers and their decision making on the pitch. We talk about their decision making off the pitch. So, if you're a footballer that they don't do as much anymore, but who blows up weight in the off season, that smokes a bit, drinks a bit, goes out too much, doesn't take it seriously, we judge players for that. I judge players on their decisions on where to stay. Like Gerrard was a world-class football player. Gerrard won lots of trophies for Liverpool. But I think, and he was a legend, but I think he could have had an even greater legacy within football if he'd have left and joined a club that had more ambition and was in a better position. Harry Kane should have left Spurs 5-6 years ago, but he didn't. And Mo Salah, it could end up looking like he should have left 2 or 3, maybe after winning the league, as opposed to staying, if they don't help build a team that matches his output and his quality. So no, I do get you, bro. TM here said, I don't understand how Liverpool couldn't get this Zubi release clause. So it's not about the release clause. So they were willing to pay the release clause. The player just said, I ain't signing your deal though. I don't want to play for you. So therefore, getting the bid accepted is irrelevant. especially as Sociedad were not pushing for him to leave. Say Sociedad needed the money, they might have said, please, we love you, we respect you, but we need you to go. They wanted to keep him. They wrote him poems and all sorts. And by the way, have you seen how nice Sociedad is? I've seen the pictures today.
Seen it.
I wouldn't want to leave if I was working there. Like, do you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't want to leave. No. And I'm not slagging Liverpool off. I come from the East End of London before it was like quirky and fashionable to live there. It was proper grim where I grew up. But yeah, would you want to leave? Especially as there's talk that Barca are coming in next summer for him as well. Nabil here says, Terry, how you rate Liverpool's midfield? They bought Jude, Caicedo, and now Zuba. They are stacked, plus Yoro and Van Dijk as 2 centre-backs. City is clearly scared, is what Nabil says here. Chike also says, Dan, Terry, and LB, I want to know your opinion on the 3 clubs in the top 5 leagues that have the most pull. Who has the most pull right now in 2024, in your opinion, LB? The top 3 clubs.
What, in England now? I'd probably say...
Of course, it says all top 5 leagues. Let's do all 5 leagues.
Okay, I'd probably do Real Madrid, City. I'd say Bayern Munich. I'd say Arsenal might have pull if they went for bigger players, but they don't really attempt it too much. I still think Barca have the pull. If they've got the cash, I still think people would go Barcelona. I don't know how many that is.
Yeah. What about yourself, Dan? Who would you say top? We'll do top 5. Top 5 teams in Europe with the most pull.
Barcelona and Real Madrid. Bayern Munich. City. And it's hard not to say Manchester United, isn't it? Because Manchester United are massive. Like, ridiculous. It's just because of how you've been run in the last decade that you've not been. But aside from that, you've still managed to attract some of the biggest names at the time. Like, you know, when this Paul Pogba stuff was going on, everyone was talking about him. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes at the time, everyone was like, oh, he'd be brilliant. So you have signed some fantastic players. With Arsenal, I think we've been a little bit like Liverpool, if I'm honest. I understand what LB's saying. Like, we could be, but Arsenal have kind of, other than Mesut Ozil, there wasn't many times that Arsenal signed a player that everybody
That's why I said it.
wanted.
Because at the end of the day, Arsenal got a massive fan base, big stadium. Yeah. You're in London. You pay good wages. But until you show more evidence of signing, I think Rice was a big one, but signing from a fellow London club, like when you go and get that next big player, which I expect you to do, you're probably not going to do it now, but probably next year, I expect you to go big for someone. I think you need to. I think then you're up there. But yeah, I agree on. I agree on the rest.
I still put Man United in the top 5, to be honest. I think
I think I would.
I think you're up there. I think
we are. I think if we have, again, money is an important part to this, because you've got to bring in the players to these massive clubs. You've got to pay them the going rate of a player at those clubs. And there's a bit that we're doing where we've got to sort our culture out first. But we've seen it with Lenny Yoro. We've seen it with Lenny Yoro already. We had the ability to make him go. I know in my heart of heart that he has got a desire to play for Real Madrid, and he could end up there one day. And I'm really relaxed about it, because a lot of football players, probably 90% of them, all want to play for Real Madrid one day, if we're being honest with ourselves. But the fact that we were able to turn his head. Some people are saying Juve. Hang on. Juve just got rejected by Todibo for West Ham. I don't think they're in the top 5 for Paul, if I'm being honest with you.
Any Italian teams are in the top 5.
No, not anymore. Not anymore at all.
The two Manchester clubs, Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Bayern Munich. I think they're the top 5. I really do.
Makes sense. Speaking of Manchester United, some interesting news this afternoon. We know that the Ugarte talks are continuing, but some big reports that a bid is imminent for Fofana, and that Man United have supposedly left AC Milan. We talk about Paul, that we've left them behind, and that would be the second player potentially this summer that we take off of AC Milan. The Monaco midfielder Fofana linked with a move to Man United at the same time that we are still having talks with PSG and Jorge Mendes over the signing of Ugarte. How good a piece of business would Fofana into Man United at this stage be, in your opinion, Potsy?
Very, very good. Very, very good business. I'm absolutely stunned that Arsenal haven't gone in for him. For me, he is the perfect box-to-box midfielder. I know we're linked with Merino, and that's the one Arteta wants, but I was crying out for Yusuf Fofana. I see him play against us last season in the friendly at Monaco, and that was when I first saw him and thought, who is this guy? He is brilliant, mate. He is typical box-to-box, athletic. He's got brilliant physical attributes, aerial ability, offensively and defensively, great on the ball carrier. This is good money as well, Tel. Like, he's not expensive because obviously he's got 1 year left at Monaco. They're happy to sell him. This, if you could get him for like 20, 25 million, this will be a fantastic signing, mate. Honestly, fantastic signing. I'm really frustrated, to be fair, because it's a player that I really liked and wanted us to get. So I think this could be a really good signing. And you know, Manchester United actually could, something like that could balance out your midfield. You've got Kobe Mainoo, who can't do it all, but is definitely a talented player. Bruno Fernandes needs to be complemented by a couple of players around him because we know what happens. If he's got idiots around him, he plays like an idiot. If he's got players around him, he plays like a player, right? That's in my opinion in Bruno Fernandes. For me, I look at what Fofana could do to your balance of your midfield. I think he could be an excellent signing, man. I really do. And if you was to look at Ugarte and Fofana on top of the defenders you're linked with, on top of what you've got up top, and I see that Calvert-Lewin was linked as well. I don't know how true that is. For me, that midfield could be quite decent, man. With Mason Mount there as well, that people forget about. If you was to get Ugarte and Fofana, you've got your 6 and your 8 on top of Kobe Mainoo and Bruno and Mason Mount. Your midfield is pretty much sorted there, mate. Honestly, I think it would be a really good signing this. And people might think I'm mucking around, but I think Yusuf Fofana is a baller, man. Honestly, I think he's a great player. So, yeah, I'd be excited if I was a United fan. 100%, man.
No, they needed to get more midfielders in, aren't they? Because, you know, some of the current midfielders are not good enough. Mainoo's only young. McTominay's obviously clearly not good enough. So they needed to get another midfielder in and you know, fair play for actually doing that. You know, I repeat what I say most weeks on when it comes to Man United. You're heading in the right direction, but I think it's going to be a slow process. I still think it's going to be 2 to 3 years until you're challenging. But I do think you've got that right structure in place and you look like you're making the right moves. You don't appear to be making signings where everyone's going, why on earth are they signing them for? People can speculate on whether this overpaid for Euro or whatever, but it's irrelevant. They needed a defender. They've got a defender. End of story. It doesn't matter. Just like when Arsenal signed Rice. A lot of people said they overpaid for Rice. Don't matter. They needed Rice. They needed that player. People got to stop. People got to stop. And I know it's obviously not that an expensive price, right? But people got to stop looking at money and look at the actual player. Is the player good enough? Yeah, I mean, we spoke about Liverpool a minute ago and how some of their players that they've signed over the years are just not good enough for Liverpool. They're not at the Liverpool standard. You know, United have signed loads of players over the years that are just not at the standard that you need to be. And it looks to me like United are obviously making better moves and we'll see how they get on. I still think your manager's a fraud. I still think he'll be sacked by the end of the season, if not at the end of the season. But that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, right move for me. I agree with Potsy.
I get that. And James here says that Fofana links are catfishing for PSG to lower the price, and they could be. But Fabrizio said something the other day, and I don't take everything one particular man says as the gospel, but he sort of said Ugarte's the number one target, but don't be surprised if Man United, if outgoings happen, that Man United don't try and pull off another like a cheaper midfield player as well as Ugarte, and like Sander Berg's a name that we've been linked to. And I don't want him as the only central midfield signing, but if we signed Ugarte and Sander Berg, I would say again, like the defensive signings we've made, the overall technical floor of the team has been risen. But if you can pick, I mean, there's a potential here to get 30 million ish for McTominay, but then for 25 million euros get Fofana. The overarching upgrade of technical ability again is there. Plus, it means we don't have to run Mainoo at 18 to 19 years of age into the ground next season. Because that's one of my fears, is that he ends up having to play. I'd like him to be used regularly, but it'd be lovely to be. I mean, imagine just being able to say, right, Mainoo isn't starting today, Fofana is. That we haven't been able to do that for a long time at Man United. We have good players, but as soon as you go to the backup, you look at it with Delo, we can play more progressively with Delo. But if he's out and it was AWB, can't do it. Lissandro or Varane ain't available. We didn't have the players to have the ability to play out from the back. Now suddenly you've got Lissandro, you've got Yoro, you've got Delic that has come into the club. You've got 3 centre-backs that are very good at playing out from the back. So why City are so strong is because their system is well drilled, they're well coached, but their squad, of course, it's thick and it's deep. It's not the biggest squad in the world, but it's thick and deep in the sense of the technical ability is there so that they don't have to adapt how they play dramatically based on 2 or 3 injuries, they can keep being Manchester City. And that's what I'm looking for this season. Aside from, trying to win some trophies and progress in the league position, I'm looking for that sort of consistency in how we try and play, because that's the only way that we're going to make it as a top team. Every now and then you might have to adapt if you're up against another superstar team away from home, but generally you want to have a set style of play. And we were outperformed last year technically by the relegation teams, and Man United fans hate hearing this. Part of that was the system, another part of that was the quality of player. I saw it in pre-season and I saw against City on Sunday, changes in what we're trying to do, more compact in the central areas. Took us 20 minutes to build up the confidence, but when we started playing out from the back, and I know it weren't City's best team, and I said it on Sunday, but I still think that City team that started on Sunday could beat 90% of the Premier League sides. At Wembley's big pitch as well, the way you play football, we passed it through you well, and I haven't seen us play through City with the volume of times we did that much in the last 7 or 8 years. I just haven't. Counter-attack, maybe, but not pass through the way we did. And look, it would have been a much bigger test if Rodri was there. But equally, we had players missing through injury, and we haven't even got any of our new signings out there. So I'm really excited about this forthcoming game on Friday. I'd love if we could get Fofana and Ugarte. That for me would end the window. We're up to about 6 players then, and I would say, look, don't even sign anymore, because you're going to end up maybe overwhelming the squad. But bring in Xerxes, technically gifted unit, very good player, young Yoro, Mazwari, De Ligt, hopefully Ugarte, and then potentially Fofana. You bring in those 6. I think the overarching technical ability has risen. We should see an improvement in our football. And I believe what that can then do is create a base for those guys up front to try and score those goals. And I think, look, we haven't got a Haaland. We haven't got anybody like that. I don't even think we've got a Salah in our team in terms of numbers. But with a base like that, we're going to get the ball to that edge of the box regularly. We're going to get a lot of balls into the box. And look, I think we'll have a better season. And I do agree with LB. I think we're on the road to recovery. I'd be really impressed with these players. And let's just hope that Ineos and co can get these guys over the line. I'm very, very hopeful.
I think,
of that.
Terry, the front three would still be an issue for me at the moment at Manchester United, because you don't know what Rashford's going to do. You don't know if Sancho and Ante are staying or want to stay. You don't know what's happening up top, whether Rasmus can start scoring or whether Xerxes can come in with a hype and start putting the ball in the back of the net. And that's where I still have my doubts with Manchester United.
Very true.
There's no doubt that you've got building a foundation, and you look at the midfield. I actually think at fullback you'll probably be okay if the players stay as they are. I know Wan-Bissaka's left, but Mazraoui's come in. You've got De Ligt and Yoro. There's still rumours that Jared Branthwaite, that's not dead in the water from what I'm hearing today as well, that Everton are so skint with this point deduction stuff again, which is becoming a joke, by the way, but that's for another show. There could be still movement there as well. But Manchester United, I still don't have them finishing massively high at the table for the pure fact that I just don't see where the goals are going to come from at the moment. And until that changes, that will then change my prediction of where Manchester United will finish, because I know Rashford can score, but the consistency is a problem. I don't know what you're going to get from Højlund. Will he get above 10 goals? I still don't know. What is Xerxes going to do? I have no idea. And I don't know what you're doing on the right-hand side. I mean, Sancho looks like he wants out. Anthony clearly isn't good enough. I know Garnacho's there, who I rate as a player, but he doesn't get you sort of 10 to 15 goals, really, does he? So I think that's, for me, the only kind of question mark is who's going to score the goals for Manchester United. But the rest of the team you're building is clear, you know?
No, listen, I think that's all fair challenge. And of course, I want to go up the league. But the most important thing is to develop a sustainable way of playing football. And a lot of the coaching is being done by Ruud van Nistelrooy. And it's really interesting because some people do think that Ten Hag may be sacked this year, and that some people believe that Ruud van Nistelrooy is already in there as well. If it goes wrong, there's someone to step in straight away. I want it to work for Ten Hag because I don't have a personal vendetta or issue with him. But knowing that we're building a proper structure at the club, I'm less worried about a manager being sacked now than ever before, because you can just bring somebody else in. It's you need to have that kind of plug and play sort of solution when it comes to managers. Not that they're not important and not that they don't do good jobs, but we can't be doing what we've done for the last 11 years and starting all over again with a new manager. No, you pick up where the last guy left off, like Chelsea. Chelsea are not at the beginning of a rebuild. They're going into their 3rd season under this structure, as an example. So Liverpool are not in a rebuild. You're just going into a new manager era. City, if Pep leaves at the end of this season, City aren't at a rebuild stage. They're at a new manager stage, so it's transitional, but everything else is still there and the expectations remain. So No, I totally agree. But look, I think attacking wise, a lot of people have said, like, what about Rashford, Terry? Would you keep him? I would. He missed 2 chances at the weekend, but I'm not writing him off because he missed those 2 chances. It's if we create 2 chances. The thing is this: I would say Haaland generally gets at least 2 chances of that quality every game he plays for City in the league. At least. If you create 2 chances like that per game for Marcus Rashford this season, in all competitions, he'll score 30 goals. I really believe he will. So it isn't the problem Man United players have had is that we might create 1 proper good chance in a game for them, and it's like, you've got to score it. But the best strikers in the world miss 70% of their chances. What's Haaland's conversion rate? 30, 40%? So you've got to create an abundance of opportunities. Now, some of them, of course, he scores some outrageous goals. Some goals that you think, how the hell has he done? Got to that. But there's loads where it's just like, it's easier to miss. Score. It's harder to miss than it is to score from. We've got to do more of that as a football club. And if we do that, then I think the goals will come. Our creativity needs to improve tenfold. And I was impressed with that the other day. And a lot of that just comes from simple passing and movement. You don't need to go and buy Xavi and Iniesta to create chances per se. You just need good one touch, 2 touch football and movement, and you can open any team up. It's just basic football. So, yeah, fingers crossed for us anyway. Usually, I don't care who the transfer's done, like linked players. The club knows better than me. However, I really want Sander Berg. I know you want a Norwegian because you're Norwegian, but I'm not against him coming into Man United. I just don't want him to be the only midfielder we sign. I don't want that pressure being on him. But injury record's a little bit sketchy. But as a technical footballer, again, he's light years ahead of what we've got. He really, really is in the central areas. Pains me to say, but United had a blip season. What, last year?
Don't pay me to say it, mate, whether it was a blip or not. Jeez, come on, Michael.
Still the second most successful team in England last season. Just want to put that out there. So put that out there. Not bad for a blip season. Not bad. Imagine
trophies.
You can't. Yeah, you can't. Didn't play the second best football in England though. We're probably somewhere like Conference North. I mean, I went and watched some League One games last year. I went with my brother that was Leyton Orient playing. Genuinely, League One teams for large part of last season were moving the ball better than us. Imagine if this Man United under the Glazers and Woodward again, none of the right signings would occur and Branthwaite would have happened. Yeah, if Woodward was still running, it would have signed Branthwaite for 95 million. That's what would have happened. That's what we would have done. It would have been 95 million, and we would have sold, by the way, Scott McTominay, but would have sold him for 6.5 million. That's what we'd have done, and we'd all be crying about it. So no, I totally agree. Is Sam okay? Crashed out like I did. Yeah, he was going mad last night.
He was done, man. He tapped
He
out.
ranted for about 2 minutes in Arabic. I don't know what he said, but it sounded painful. It sounded painful.
Yeah, but he was saying the same thing that we said at the start of the show, wasn't he? Like calling out the owners, calling out the guys upstairs, and it's what more Liverpool fans need to do. Absolutely.
Chelsea boys. Conor Gallagher has been told to come home. They're negotiating quite hard still for João Felix, but whenever I read the reports, it kind of reads they're negotiating for João Felix so that the Conor Gallagher deal happens, which doesn't tell me that they're overly interested in the player. They've cancelled the Samu Amarodian deal. There's talks with Osimhen. LB, what's your take on what's going on at Chelsea right now?
Can we just play the same clip that we speak about every week? Because this is just, I love being, honestly, man. Chelsea, you must be buzzing Chelsea exists, man, because they just give us stuff to talk about every single week, man. I mean, it's great. It's a circus act. It really, really is. I mean, I'm seeing now that they've just signed Palmer up to a contract until, what is it, 2033? Was that right?
Yeah, 9 years. Yeah, 9 years.
I mean, what is going on at that football club, bro? I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. It's just, it's chaos. Off the pitch, it's been chaos since this new owner came in. It's still chaos now, two years later, or however long it's been there. I don't think the chaos is going to end anytime soon. And they'll probably, again, not finish in the Champions League and massively, massively underperform. I don't know if you've seen that graphic that someone put out earlier on. It was, who put this out? Oh, it was Transfermarkt put out a graphic. And it was the most money spent on transfer fees in the history of English football. right? So if you take Chelsea, City, United, Liverpool, in the history of English football, right? City have spent 2.8 billion. United have spent 2.7 billion. Liverpool have spent 2.1 billion, right? That's in the history of football. Just under Todd Bowley, Chelsea have spent 1.32 billion and a 10th on the list. 10th on the list of most money spent in history, and he's only on the club 2 years.
Wow.
And then you get Chelsea fans. Well, again, this is funny, man. You say to Chelsea fans, "Oh, you're trash. You're massively underperforming." No, we're not. No, we're not, bro. You spent over £1 billion in the space of a few years, and some of these Chelsea
look at
fans
the state of the squad as well.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. They went for this youth project. Everyone said it wouldn't work. And they said, "How do you know it's not going to work?" Like, it's never worked in the history of football. And if it was that easy, Pep Guardiola and Sir Alex Ferguson would have done this their whole entire career. Some of the smartest men in the game. They've not done that because that's not how it works. And they'll probably finish about, 7th or 8th again this season. They'll probably sack the manager, and we'll start the whole process again. Listen, I think it's an absolute car crash of a football club at the moment. It's embarrassing. If I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be embarrassed in the way that club is ran. And they literally took over a side that won the Champions League, dismantled it, and now they're a mid-table side. I know they finished 6th due to a pretty good end of the season, but I don't see these guys getting top 4 next year. I just think it's an embarrassing football club, and too many Chelsea fans accept where they are. And again, more people need to be calling out their owners. There's a pattern here, isn't there? You know, fans need to be calling out their owners more. And it's not just about spending money wisely. I guarantee you, if I was in charge of that football club, you could have given me half the money and I would have had them finish in higher positions than they were the other years. Because I wouldn't have signed all these kids, all these 19-year-olds on 20, 30, 40 mil. I wouldn't have signed Enzo for 100 mil. I would have got experienced players cheaper and had them performing. I cannot believe that there's still Chelsea fans out here that back this owner. It's insane. It really is.
Yeah. When you hire a bunch of clowns, expect a circus. And that's what Chelsea are, mate. It's an absolute mess. Listen, long may it continue. Got a lot of Chelsea fans I share content with. A lot of them are speaking sense. And they're expecting Chelsea to just be a bit of a roundabout, really. Maresca will be a Potter or a Poch. They'll say it's the manager's fault. He's absolutely terrible. It's definitely not all these world-class players we've got. Get rid of the manager. It's definitely the manager. And they'll get another manager in, which will probably be one of Pep Guardiola's boys again. And they'll say, this manager's not good enough again. We'll sack him. It can't be these players.
The managers, but Potsy, to be fair, the managers have been part of the problem because they appointed the wrong managers.
100%. But when you've got, absolutely, and that's the ownership problem again, LB. That is the ownership not having a clue what they're doing. And I look at some of the transfers. Look, I actually like the Pedro Neto signing. I know it's a risk because he's injury prone. I get it. Right, but he is a baller. If they can keep him fit, he's an absolutely top player, right? Top player. I actually don't mind the Dewsbury Hall signing. I understand why people are laughing at it, but I think he's a good player. I actually do, right? But let's be real. Somebody told me they've got 7 goalkeepers now. What the hell is going on here? Why do you need 7 goalkeepers? Aren't they trying to get back into the Champions League? Stop, just stop buying kids, man. You've got enough of them, yeah? You've got enough kids now. Go and try and get Osimhen. Pedro Neto, good signing. Go and look at the players that some of the teams around you are looking at and go, let's go and do a Caicedo over there and bring him in. He's looking at that player. That's the player we should be going for. Go and bring them in. Ready-made players, ones that are ready to go now. Like, I look at the list of the players they've got in. I'm going to read it out. I don't know who some of these people are. I mean, I speak to Don quite a lot. He'll probably do some research and tell me he's the next best thing. But Pedro Neto and Dewsbury, I've told him he's brilliant, right? I do not understand. Philip Jorgensen, I don't know enough about him as a goalkeeper. Kellyman from Villa, we all know why they bought him. Aaron Anselmino from Boca Juniors for 16 million, 19-year-old. I don't know who he is. No idea. Renato Vega from Basel, a left-back or a defensive midfielder. I think they've said that he can be, but he can play left-back. Caleb Wiley, 19-year-old from Atalanta. Mark Gui, or Gil, as they call him, from Barcelona, 18-year-old centre-forward. Tosin, to be fair, 26, proven in the Premier League, not a bad signing. I don't think he's levels, like some people are saying.
Not good enough for Chelsea.
So bad. In my opinion, no, not good enough for Chelsea. And some of the others that are coming and gone. So I don't look at Chelsea and think, wow, they look ready, man. This Maresca's balling them out. In pre-season, they look leaky as hell at the back. So, listen, if the Chelsea fans are happy, go get Champions League, because if your squad's better than Liverpool's and Man United's and Tottenham's and Villa's, then go finish in the Champions League, man. That's what you should be demanding.
Why do you not think Tosin, LB, is good enough for Chelsea?
It's just not. I've witnessed this guy in City's academy. I've witnessed him at Fulham. He's just not good enough for Chelsea. He's a good player, good Premier League player, but it's not, Chelsea should be a football club that should be aiming to win Premier Leagues. Maybe if he's a fourth choice backup, yeah, maybe that's all right, yeah. But like if he's first choice or second, or is he starting, or the what's that, the third choice defender? So if one gets injured, he comes on. He ain't good enough for that. And even at fourth choice, I'd be a little sketchy. I mean, I seen him play against us, and he wasn't particularly great. Half of these players deciding again are not good enough for the football club. There was no need for them to spend that much money, put 1.4 billion quid. There was no need whatsoever to do that. They went in, they decided that we know best, we're going to do this project, and it has backfired. It's the biggest waste of money spent in the history of the sport. In the history of the sport, it's the biggest waste of money ever spent in the history of the sport, yeah? And again, they have, I don't know where they're going to finish. I mean, flip a coin. Maresca, is he going to do good? Is he going to do bad? I don't know, man. But one thing you can't be doing is saying it's definitely going to be good, mate. Because, like, let's be real. Yeah, they've got a manager who's had, what, one season? Is it one season he had with Leicester? Or he had any more than that?
One.
Yeah.
So he's had 1 year's experience, and he's going into one of the most chaotic clubs in the world. I mean, if you just think about it logically, how do we expect that to end? I expect it to end pretty badly, given the fact he's had 1 year's experience and he's going into the most chaotic club in the world. Doesn't mean it necessarily will. He might do good. Who knows? But just thinking about it, normally, it doesn't seem like... And then if you look at the players that they've got, half the players are not actually that good. You know what I mean? I don't know. I expect a similar season, probably finish around 8th, something like that. And again,
do you know what, right? We've seen this. We've seen Chelsea spend money before. This £1 billion that they've spent is a hell of a lot, but we've seen them spend money before. So when people say, oh, this ain't the Chelsea under Roman, trust me, it really ain't, right? But why can't it be then? Because the amount of money they're spending, they could have gone and got a Didier Drogba up top. They could have gone and got a Michael Essien in midfield with a Michael Ballack. They could have gone and got somebody on the wing like an Eden Hazard or Arjen Robben. They could have spent enough money to go and get the best left back out there at the moment, whoever that may be, in terms of an Ashley Cole. For me, there's not one about, but you go and get the next best thing. But they're not doing that. They're trying for some reason to go, I want to spend a lot of money, but I only want to spend it on players that are under the age of 23, so that by 2037 we can win the league. What the hell is going on here? And Chelsea fans are doing this, going, this is brilliant, this. I'm really liking what I'm seeing. I've done my research. I've seen enough to get excited about this. I hope for your sake that you do get excited and finish in the Champions League, because it's been an absolute failure if you do not get Champions League football after spending that amount of money. Like, real talk, man.
Don here says to LB, who should they have brought in this market instead of Tosin?
Don't know. Someone better than him.
Mark Gahey. Wasn't he at Chelsea,
yeah.
Mark Gahey?
Mark Gahey. There you go.
Gahey, De Ligt, Yoro, Branthwaite,
Calafiori.
Don't act like this is copium. What are you doing here, Don?
I know.
Oh, no,
Tosin, to be fair, but
yeah, you're going, this is the best thing that we could have got. No, bro, it's not true. There's other players out there that you could have signed. Todibo. And at the end of the day, yeah, if a player, you should just sign a player because, like, there's no one else out there. At the end of the day, yeah, if the player isn't good enough, he shouldn't be at the football club. Yeah, well, we didn't have a striker, yeah. Pep Guardiola didn't go, let's just go and sign a crap striker. He went, no, we'll play false nine. You don't buy players because, you know, there's no one else available if they're not good enough for your football club. Because what you do is you bring the standard down and then you'll do it for someone else and you do it for someone else. I know for a fact that we're not going to beat Chelsea at the weekend, man. Great in good area, lol. We need height and Tosin was free. What about Newcastle United, who you, man, seem to rate on Mad One? So are you saying that Guay's not Tosin is better than Guay? Is that what you're saying? You try to tell me that Tosin's better than Matt Guay? He'll
say no, he's better for what we need. He won't actually say, yeah, that's what he'll say.
That's what he'll say.
The thing is, though, Man United were interested in him, but he wasn't one of our priorities. Branthwaite, Yoro, De Ligt were all ahead of him in terms of our priority list, to be fair. I like Tosin, though. I actually have praised that signing. I'm just asking questions, but there were better players than Tosin available in the transfer, available in the market. Anderson at Crystal Palace, I actually think is better than Tosin, and he looks like he's going to Fulham to replace him. I think he's a very, very good centre back as well.
Fulham. I don't know many. I speak to Fulham fans like through my channel, and none of them are crying about Tosin going. So he's quite a good player. That was it. They're not going, oh my God, we're going to be absolutely shocked at the back now. Look, he's got to Chelsea. What are we going to do? They're like, we'll go and get Diego Carlos and Joachim Anderson, and we'll put them together at the back. Like they're fine with it. So that to me means he ain't all that great. He's all right. He's all right. Well,
he's a good player, but is he a player that's going to take Chelsea back to the Champions League? No. And then you can't talk to me, by the way, about Fofana. Oh, Fofana. What, the guy's played about 5 games in 2 years? I mean, come on, wake up.
In terms of re-signing João Felix, do you think that's a good bit of business in itself, LB?
Bro, I'm just so confused, man. I don't get it. I mean, where's he going to play? Is he playing as a striker? Is he playing as a what? Is he playing in the pocket? Well, where's Palmer playing? Because obviously, they got Neto. Where's Neto? I don't understand why they're signing him. Where's he going to play? Do you know where he's going to play? Because sure, I'd imagine that Palmer will probably be in the middle. I mean, I'd probably play him in the middle. I mean, he's the best player. I'd have him on the ball, get him in the middle. He gets on the ball more, right? So who's the striker going to be? Are they going to play him up top as a striker? Are they going to go to a false 9 situation? If you go to a false 9, you've got Palmer in the middle, and then you've got Felix. So they're not going to crowd each other out. Again, I just think it's an unnecessary signing. I don't really understand why they're signing him. Surely that they've got bigger priorities in the squad, or they need better profile of a player. Like to me, that just doesn't make sense at all. Don't get it. Yeah, I know that just like most of the signings Chelsea make, confusing. I don't understand, bro.
LB, it says LB just waffling. Tosin is a free transfer.
He's not good enough for Chelsea. Simple. My opinion is he's not good enough for Chelsea. It doesn't matter if he's free or they paid. Fulham could have paid you to take him. Irrelevant. If the player's not good enough for the football club, he shouldn't be there. And then people say, yeah, but LB will be back up to Fofana. Well, how do you know Fofana's going to stay fit? This guy's a historic issue with injuries, bad injuries. How do you know he's going to stay fit? He might do. But then again, you're signing Felix. Why are you signing Felix for? Where is Felix going to play in this team? Can anyone tell me where he's going to play in this side? They need someone to put the ball in the back of the net. That's what they need. They need a striker to put the ball in the back of the net. Are they going to play Felix as a striker? Surely not.
Well, they've got Nkunku, they've got Palmer that all want to play there. Obviously, João Felix usually plays as a 9 or a 10. They tell me that Jackson is a good striker. So who's going to get in ahead of these guys?
But could they turn this round, though, boys? If they go and get Osimhen and add him to the mix, would that not completely change your mind about their summer?
Yeah, 100%. I'll sit here, clap Chelsea. I'll be like, boom. I won't say boom. Yeah, I'll be like, well done, Chelsea. You got your club back again. Boom's a little bit too much. This is what they need to do. Go and get some experience. Go and get a player that knows what he's doing. Don't get some young kids, man. You know what I mean? Or Felix, who's not really done too well for a long time. Go and get Osimhen. I genuinely actually want them to sign Osimhen because I think it'd be interesting to see him in the Premier League, and I think it'll be interesting to see how he drags Chelsea up a level. But then they'll sign someone else, and then it'll be like, oh, other fans will be buzzing. Go and get Osimhen, man. 100%, I would change my opinion on. I think that would, for me, represent that they've understood that they've made errors. If they don't do that, for me, they're just going down the same path.
Yeah, for me, look, Tosin, we can talk about being good enough, not good enough. I'm kind of with LB there, but I understand it more than some of the others. Free transfer, 26 years old. He's obviously Premier League proven. Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, I actually believe he's not a bad player. A lot of people think he's going to be terrible. I don't mind him. I didn't mind that signing when everyone was laughing at it. I think the Pedro Neto signing is an absolute baller. If they're going to put Osimhen on top of that, you start to say, Chelsea, to be fair, they've started to learn a little bit. But when they're buying more kids and more kids and more kids, putting a 47-man squad in, it's just a madness to me. It really is madness. So see what they do, man.
This here says, Dan, Chelsea needs 7 goalkeepers because they're bang average defence. I think post this Sunday's game, Boresca might start playing 3 goalkeepers. How do you think you're going to get on against them this weekend? Like, I know you said you don't think you'll win. Is that because you think you're jinxing it, or do you think you could dismantle them like you did in pre-season?
Well, I've pucked Chelsea on this stream, and now we play them. So, that's life, innit? Karma's going to get me on Saturday. I don't know, man. Like, I'm Obviously, I've only watched Chelsea once in pre-season when they played City. I didn't think they'd be very good, to be honest with you. But we're probably going to have no Rodri, no Foden available. I'm sure they'll have their own issues. I don't know, man. I'm semi-confident we can get a result, but Chelsea did quite well against us last year. I know it's a new manager, and the way that he plays probably will suit City a little bit more than the way Pochettino set up his team. But I don't know. I feel like the first couple of weeks until the teams get flowing, you never really know. I think early doors is probably where you want to play City. You want to play City early on before we get into our stride. I mean, Rodri's not going to be available, so great news for Chelsea there. So I don't know, man. I'm semi-confident we'll get the win just because we'll still put out a mid team, but it's early doors. We're not flowing, so we'll see, man. Not
is it at Stamford Bridge?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes it. How do you see it going, Dan? Do you think Chelsea could sort of shock a few people and pick up a really big opening day win against the current champions?
No, I don't. I think Manchester City will win. But Chelsea do turn up against the bigger sides. It's mad. Chelsea had this weird thing last season of being terrible against Burnley and terrible against Sheffield United and laughable against teams in the bottom half. But then they come up against Arsenal at the Bridge and they give us a game. To be fair, we were absolutely terrible that day, to be honest. I mean, they still didn't beat us. But obviously, they give Manchester City problems. They give Tottenham problems. So for me, they have a chance because they have that kind of bit about them. It's the first game. There'll be a lot to prove. Maresca will want to obviously do well against Pep. So I can imagine they'll go all out. But I just think the quality will shine through. And I think Manchester City will win. I think they've got the better 11. And I think that they, for me, even without Alvarez, are still favourites at the moment to win the league. So I expect them to beat Chelsea fairly comfortably, to be honest. But anything can happen in football, Terry, as they say. But Chelsea, nah, I ain't seen enough at the moment, if I'm honest. And apparently in pre-season, not that I've seen any of it, they've been shambolic defensively. So I imagine Haaland could have potentially a field day if they play like that.
He potentially could. If they, I mean, in fact, they didn't really make the mistakes against Inter, but they were still in the first half fairly easy to play through. But it was the abundance of mistakes in pre-season, especially against. I stayed up and watched the City game, and it was just they do that in the Premier League. They'll get taken apart. How confident are you about the start of your season, though, LB? You've signed obviously Salvio or Salvinio, as we're calling him now. No other deals as of yet. Are you confident about retaining your title?
I think if Rodri stays fit, I think we'll win the league. I think it's that important to us. I don't think Arsenal have done quite enough for me in the window. Seems to be the same sort of saying the same thing about Arsenal every year. I think they always need that extra guy. Last year I felt they need that extra player. This year, I feel like they might need one more, or maybe even two more. To be honest with you, so yeah, I'm still pretty confident we'll win the league. And I think our squad's decent. We've got a lot of midfielders, but if Rodri gets an injury that takes him out for more than a month, I think that could be an issue depending on who we play in, man. But if I'm being honest with you, mate, we got Pep Guardiola, we've still got a mid team. Even if we don't buy another player, I don't think we'll sign a single player now. I think we're done. Even if we don't sign another player, I still expect us to win the league with the squad that we've got. So yeah, I'm pretty confident. Don't think Arsenal have done enough, and I don't think there's anyone else in this league that is close to City or Arsenal right now. So I think it'll be down to us two again. I think if Arsenal get themselves in front and don't win the league, I think that's when you've got to have serious questions about Arsenal's mentality issues. You know what I mean? If they get themselves in front again. So it will be interesting to see. Of course, there's a couple more games in the Champions League. There's 8 matches now instead of 6 in the group stage. That'll put extra strain on the squads. I think Arteta's under pressure as well to win a domestic cup in case he doesn't win the Prem or the Champions League. If he takes those seriously, that could put Arsenal's squad under pressure, man. So I don't know. I think the questions for me, all the questions and all the pressure is all on Arsenal now. Because at the end of the day, City have done their business. City have won the 4P. We've won the Prem. We've won the Champions League. Arsenal still haven't won a Champions League in their history. They've still not won any major trophy under Arteta other than that FA Cup early doors. All the pressure and all the expectation has to be on Arsenal. It's got to be Arsenal's year, man. If it's not, it's got to go. Simple.
Do you feel that way, Potsy? Do you feel like the pressure is on you guys this season to go and win those major trophies?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Of course, there should be. This is Arsenal Football Club. There should be more of a demand. we should 100% be winning trophies. He's got to win silverware this season. And people might laugh and go, what, a Carabao Cup? Yeah. What's funny about that? What's bad about winning a League Cup? What's bad about winning a trophy? Are people really going to tell me they'd be like, I don't really want that trophy. Don't fancy that FA Cup. That's a bit of a waste of time, isn't it? That just gets in the way. That League Cup, over by February? No, thank you. Just concentrate on the big ones. No, man, come on. You got to go and get the domestic cups, in my opinion. We've got to take them seriously. So for me, I think this we can't beat Pep nonsense is bullshit. And I've always said it's bullshit because he won 1 at the 4 trophy last year. So he was beaten by 3 managers last year, right? He was beaten by Ten Hag somehow. He was beaten by Real Madrid. And who did you lose to in the League Cup, LB? Was it Newcastle?
Mm-hmm.
So you're beaten by Eddie Howe. So Arteta's got to go and get one over him, right? That's the way I see it. Now, I don't think we have to win the league, personally, because I still think Manchester City are better than us. So I don't think we have to win the league. He needs to win a trophy, though, because he needs to show the fan base and all the rivals and all the media that he can win with this team that he has spent £600 million on now. He's got to go and deliver with this team. And for me, there should be pressure on Arsenal. Because if we come second and we trophyless again, and the narrative is, meh, Pep's here, I'm sorry, I'm not buying that. I ain't buying that. So I agree with LB, we haven't done enough yet. In fact, I think the window has been a shambles, if I'm honest, so far from Arsenal. Bringing in another left back, which to be fair, I think is a good player, but it's not something that everyone's now looking at going, oh, that's sorted. That's them done. Then they're going to win the league. Now, we might not get to that stage. We might get to the end of the window and people might think we ain't really done enough. But for me, we need a winger, a striker and a midfielder to come in the next 18 days, is it? Or whatever it is left of this window. So for me, I think those 3 signings have got to come in the door. Now,
why do you think why has there been a delay on the Merino deal? Because what are you hearing as an Arsenal fan? What are you reading? What's being said in your kind of forums and spaces?
Yeah, this one's mad because Romano's put out recycled tweets saying it's close, it's really close, it's closer, it's really closer for about 3 or 4 days now. And I don't know what has been agreed in terms of us bidding for him. Some are suggesting that it's as little as 17 million. Some are suggesting it's around 25 to 30 million. This one has to get done. The rumor I did hear, and I don't know how true this is that Real Sociedad owe Merino something like 5 million euros, and they are asking Arsenal to pay that on top of the transfer fee that they want. So that's why there's negotiation and it's stalling again. But let's be real, if we really want this player, and that's what the price is, we're going to have to pay it. Now, it's not very fair that we have to pay that if that is the case. That's what I'm hearing, and that's why it's stalling. But let's be real. We are slow. We are slow. And at the moment, we're trying to muck around with Eddie Nketiah when I would have accepted 27 million from Marseille. And then Arsenal fans go, no, the accountants go up in arms. That is horrendous. So-and-so went for 32 million. How can you say Eddie? Because Eddie's not actually that good. Yeah, let's just be real. Eddie Nketiah would not get into any of the top 6 sides. He'd be pretty good for Bournemouth. He'd probably be all right for Brentford.
So can I just quickly come in there as well, Potts? Is it not just better, when you've got a play like that, is it not just better to get rid of them?
I think so, bro.
You might take a couple million hits. Some Arsenal fans are saying he's worth this, he's worth that. But at the end of the day, if the difference is like 5 million for a massive club like Arsenal, is it not better just to say, right, okay, well, we think he's worth that, but you're not going to pay it, so we'll just agree that he's gone, wages off the books, we've got the cash in the bank, let's go spend the money. Is that not a better way to do it?
I think so, bruv. And Smith Rowe went for 27 million with some add-ons. If Eddie Nketiah is 24 million pounds, someone coming in, let's be real. Like, it needs to be just done. We need to be... Nobody is paying 45 million pounds for Eddie Nketiah, right? I think he will go somewhere, I don't know where, roughly between 25 and 30 million or something. But let's not hold on and hold on and hold on. And we get to the end of the window and we go, Eddie, 30 million, it's done. Who are we getting then? Nothing. It shuts tomorrow. Oh, well, at least we sold Eddie. Now we've got no striker. Brilliant. Let's go ahead. Let's go and get this done, man. We need to get these players in the door. We kick off in 3 days, don't we? 4 days. Let's just get this done, man. Because for me, we've still got Reece Nelson. Leicester were very interested in him. We said we want 25 million. They said nearer 15 for us. Okay, we're not selling him then. Can't you just negotiate a bit and go, look, okay, can we push it to 20? Not really, man. We want this. And you get the deal done, compromise. Nelson wants to go. The idea for Arteta was, I want to put these 2 lads on 100k a week so we sort out their value instead of letting them go for free. How's that working out? We can't sell them because they're on 100k a week. Nobody can afford them in this PSR. So that hasn't worked out well, has it? Because we're going to have to sell them for lower value anyway, because no one can afford them. So I think personally, just get them done. And there's so many Arsenal accountants. Oh my God, you'd be selling the whole team for a Kit Kat chunky the way you're going on. No, we're talking about a couple of £1 million here for players. Yeah, we're trying to hold out to get £2 million more for Eddie Nketiah, when we could just sell him and Nelson to Leicester and to Marseille or Bournemouth, whoever it be, and then go and get the striker we need, go and get the winger we need, because they both need replacing, Nelson and Eddie. Because on our bench at the moment, Reece Nelson and Eddie are still on it. We need to go and get a winger and a striker that replaces them two, and we still need a midfielder who can play in the 8, which I believe will be Merino. If we go and sign Calafiori, Merino, and let's just pick 2 players, Eze and Victor Gyökeres, I know damn sight well that Man City will be looking going, bloody hell, I wish they kept Nelson and Eddie. And we might actually keep Nelson and Eddie because we're mucking around so much. So this needs to be done in the next couple of weeks, man, because if we keep hold of Nelson and Eddie again, it's going to just be bang average season again, man, because we need someone to take us across the line. We 100% do. We need a moments player. And I don't think Havertz and Jesus are their moments players. I think they're good, definitely part of the squad, 100%. Keep them, don't sell them. But we need that striker. We need that killer. We need that little bit of spark that can come on and give Saka some breather space. And we definitely need an 8, because at the moment we've only got Rice in there and that's it. So if we get them players on top of Calafiori, I think personally we've got a great chance of going for the league, 100%. But if we don't and we sit still, Man City are going to walk it. That's my opinion.
This is as selfish of Eddie still being here, knowing he's not going to score more. I mean, Eddie agreed the terms with Marseille. You can't blame Eddie and Nketiah for this. It's not Eddie's fault at all. Come on now. Like, wise up. Of course, there's pressure, but LB talking shit about sacking Arteta. We needed LB. We don't think we'll be disappointed at the end of the window.
So you wouldn't. So if you went another season without winning a single trophy, you'd keep him again. I think that's absolutely insane. I do, Jace, mate. Respect your opinion, bro, but like, you've got, for me, in a non-patronising way, you've got to start seeing Arsenal as the club. Arsenal are not here to hold Arteta's hand and, we're here to develop Arteta and we'll help Arteta grow. No. Arsenal are a huge football club with a huge history, yeah, and loads of fans all around the world. You shouldn't be waiting until Arteta gets it right. If he doesn't get it right, sorry, bro, adios. It's time to move on to someone who can get it right. He spent over 700 million quid. He's built a good team. But ultimately, if he doesn't win a trophy again this year, what's Arsenal's purpose? Is their purpose just to challenge? Is their purpose just to get Champions League? And ironically, go back into the position that Arsenal were in under Wenger for a long period, where it was just like, just get the Champions League money, finish 4th, and everyone's happy. There's no difference between finishing 4th and 2nd. You don't get a trophy for finishing 2nd. You don't get one for finishing 4th. You both get the same thing, qualification for the Champions League. I say you should sack Arteta if you don't win anything. If you win something, I'm not saying sack him. If you don't win anything, the reason I say that is because I think you've got a great team with great players, and I think this team should be winning silverware. I don't say it because I don't want you to compete. I say it because I genuinely believe it. Arsenal are a mint team, and there are managers out there that could potentially take Arsenal a step up.
TNT says, I'm with LB on this one. With how much Atletico are asking for João Felix, in which Chelsea isn't trying to pay, we could go and find a top-level centre back. Yeah, they're talking 60 odd million euros for João Felix. So you are right. You could probably go out and get a very good centre. Branthwaite would probably be available for somewhere in that region right now.
They're going to get him and Osimhen then. They're going to get Osimhen and Felix.
The talk is now, Chelsea are briefing the media saying they're looking at both. They were saying they were looking at both when they wanted Amarodian. This is where I think this is a real turning point for Chelsea and their owners in terms of relationship. Because say they land Felix and then just don't go anywhere near Osimhen, they're gonna know you just kept telling us Osimhen, so we were happier about the other deals, thinking that was coming at the end of the window. I think they've got to go and land someone like that, really. Alex here says you can't complain about the way you sell like you do, but complain about not accepting lower bids than the valuation perception, and then a selling culture needed.
So what we do then is we just say, anyone want Eddie for 40 million? Still nobody. Anyone want Eddie for 40 million? Still nobody. He's 41 now. Anyone want Eddie for 40 million? Come on, man. You've got to sell the player for the right price. He's clearly not worth what we're asking, is he? Nobody is. Would any of you guys think £30 million is a good signing? Do you honestly believe anyone signing Eddie Nketiah in the Premier League? Let's just say Bournemouth sign him. Do you think, cool, I'll tell you what, that takes them up a level. He's better than Solanke. He's definitely the one they want. You don't. Come on, man. You just got to be real. I don't get this. They hate it, Arsenal fans. They want us to be. He's rubbish, Eddie Nketiah. He's not good enough. I can't believe no one's offering 45 million for him. Well, you said he's not good enough. What one is it? I don't get it, man.
Rooney in here says a dismantling happened before Clear Lake when the club got a 2-window ban. They had a rebuilding a mess and started a system that can be sustained. Thank you. Joshua Jack says the fact that Fulham are about to spend 25 million on Anderson from Palace basically confirms Scott is staying. Well, they're not the same position. So maybe. Terry, I know you want him gone. We'll see what happens with that, my friend. Wayne here says the same fans who say take anything for Eddie are the same one who complain about Arsenal are bad at selling. Why can't we sell our players like Chelsea is what they say. Look, I think Dan's kind of already answered that already, but it's a fair challenge to him. Look, we are ending the show a little bit earlier than normal just because I've got to go pick up my son from his last day at nursery today. So I've got to go and pick him up and say goodbye to his teachers and do that parent stuff, grown-up shit. Boys, always a pleasure to sit and speak football with you. Super chatters, you're all absolutely amazing. Everyone who's hit the like button and subscribe. You're simply the best, and this community loves you. Big announcements coming in the next couple of days and weeks regarding the Football Terrace. I'm so excited to bring it to you. So please stay with us. Hit like, subscribe, and share the video if you haven't done so already. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon.